Hello there, my name is Deborah Enos. Welcome to my masterclass on how to be a better eater and how to eat for high performance, whether or not you're an Olympic athlete or you're just trying to have enough energy to get through your workday. You would think, as a healthy living expert and certified nutritionist, that I would have always known what I was doing, but that wasn't the case. So about 3 years ago, I had just turned 52. I was really starting to gain weight. My sleep was not good, and I honestly couldn't exercise enough to balance out the weight that I was gaining. So I knew I needed to really make some changes in my life and what I was eating. I was really concerned, especially as an entrepreneur, that my energy in the afternoon was just almost non-existent. By 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I would be so tired that I would want to lay down and take a nap, which of course, as an entrepreneur, if you're not working, you are not making any money. And I needed to really figure out my energy situation and, again, also my weight loss. So I decided to make some changes. I read a few books, I really educated myself, and I realized what I learned in college so many years ago was really not the best way for most of us to be eating. I was always taught back in college, always eat breakfast. Breakfast was the most important meal of the day. So imagine my surprise when I read a few books and read some research, realizing that breakfast really is a great marketing ploy, but it might not be the most beneficial way to start our day, especially if you're concerned about your energy for the day. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually modifying my breakfast tremendously. And what I'm doing with my coffee is I am adding collagen protein. This is one of the brands that I really like. It's called Vital Proteins. I add a scoop of collagen protein to my coffee in the morning. What I love about collagen first thing in the morning is that it's a pure protein. So it's very satisfying. So when I wake up in the morning and maybe I haven't slept that well, first thing I'm going to start off with is a glass of water, and then I'm going to move into my collagen in my coffee. So it's really supportive of muscles, tendons, ligaments, and joints. And if any of you are former athletes or have just worked out a lot, you know how painful those joints can be when you get older. Collagen protein can really help to support those joints. But what I love about putting it in my coffee is it just turns my brain on like crazy. I am so focused and so energetic when I start my day with collagen protein, instead of the old way I would start my day, which would be getting up in the morning, just having a regular cup of coffee, probably with some sweetened creamer in it. So again, way too much sugar first thing in the morning. And then I would have a couple pieces of toast, maybe a bowl of oatmeal. So I really wasn't giving myself the protein that I needed first thing in the morning to really ensure that I had a high performance and really high energy day. So again, this is how I start my day. I'll normally have 2 cups of coffee, and I'll have 1 to 2 scoops of the collagen protein in each cup of coffee. And again, I love that collagen supports your joints and muscles, arteries and veins. It's also actually been shown in research to be very good for your skin and helping to prevent wrinkles, or I'll say lessen wrinkles, and also to strengthen the bonds in the skin. So that's also a really good thing. So I love my collagen protein. The other thing that I love about it is that it's going to keep me full for about 2 to 3 hours. And honestly, any hot beverage is going to probably knock your appetite down for at least an hour, hour and a half. But then with the addition of the collagen protein, it's really going to kill your appetite. So if I'm having that at 7 a.m., I'm really not going to be hungry until about 10 or 11. At that time of the day, I'm going to be having brunch. So here I've got a piece of gluten-free toast. I've added some greens to it, and I've got 2 slices of bacon. Yes, bacon. So I love bacon. I will have a little bit of bacon 3 or 4 times a week. There is nothing wrong with it. Yes, it's got fat in it, but it's also a fantastic source of protein. I'm not eating a pound at a time, but a couple slices on a piece of toast is a really great way to power pack your day. So I'll have this at around 10 or 11. What I find is that the greens are a really helpful source of fiber and very nutrient rich. The protein is a protein that's fairly easy to hit your bloodstream. It is fatty, so it's going to keep me fuller longer. And then I use gluten-free toast. I'm not a big fan of regular bread. I do love it, but I am gluten sensitive, and a lot of us are. So I found some really good gluten-free bread that I like. So I'll have this at about 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, and that will keep me full for probably about 3 hours. And then I'll move into kind of a later lunch, which is going to be around 1:30 or 2 o'clock. It will usually be some sort of sauteed veggies or a big green salad with some sort of protein on it. I might have a big green salad with tuna or with some canned salmon, leftover chicken from the night before. I also make sure I add a lot of good avocado. I'll also have avocado on my toast, which I did not mention. Really, really fantastic source of brain fat. Your brain is mainly fat. If you get enough fat in your diet, your brain can function at a really high level. If you're not getting enough fat, your brain will really struggle. Your body needs fat in your brain for it to really be communicating. And again, avocados are a great way to get more fat into your diet. You could also add walnuts to your salad, or pine nuts or pumpkin seeds. Any type of really good fat. Salmon is another really great source of fat. So often I will, maybe if I don't do the bacon, I will do smoked salmon on my toast, possibly do smoked salmon on my salad, or I might even do some sort of a stir fry at lunchtime, add some smoked salmon to it, or leftover chicken or steak or whatever that I have in the fridge. So again, really important to get those veggies at lunchtime and at breakfast. And if you'll see my theme here, I'm really including some sort of green veggie at every meal, because most of us wait until the end of the day before we eat our green veggie, and that's just way too long to be waiting. And if you have just a ton of green vegetables at night, it can really upset your tummy. So it's really best to just kind of eat them throughout the day. Now, I'm showing you my lunch, but it's also very similar to what my dinner is going to be like, but I'm also probably going to add some sort of a carb to this, maybe some quinoa or some brown rice or some farro, something like that. So I might have a large amount of green veggies or a big salad, piece of chicken or fish, and some sort of a carbohydrate. I don't eat a lot of carbohydrates during my day, and I don't necessarily recommend them to a lot of my clients who really want to be high performance during the day. Got to think about carbohydrates like rice and pasta and bread and things like that as almost taking a Valium. So when you have carbohydrates, your body feels really great and it feels really relaxed. But if I'm in the middle of a very busy workday and I need to really level up my game and really be working hard and having my wits about me, if I sit down and have a big bowl of pasta for lunch, or even a big sandwich, with really thick bread, that is going to turn my brain off within about 20 to 30 minutes, where I'm going to then be looking for sugar to really turn my brain back on. So really important note I want to repeat to you is that if you're really trying to be high performance during the day, consider cutting back on the complex carbohydrates, again, the rice, the flour, the pasta during the day, and you can have that more at night, because at night you want to go to sleep. You want to be turning your brain off, and that will help you to do that in the evening. And this is, again, great way to have your dinner, lots of green vegetables, a little bit of protein, and again, a little bit of carbohydrate. And of course, always keeping in mind adding a little bit of fat. Now, here's where the potential challenge can come in, is that after dinner eating. So about 1.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with GERD, which is a very medical term to talk about acid reflux. And so all of my doctors had told me, you really need to cut back on your after dinner eating. And the recommendation is to stop eating 2 to 3 hours before bed, which was really, really hard for me. I often will skip meals during the day, have a huge dinner, and then honestly snack almost until it was time to go to bed. So what I had to do is to really relearn how to eat. And this is the way that I'm eating now. And I find that if I have a good sized lunch, a really good sized dinner, maybe of a small snack after dinner, I can really try to make that work in that 2-hour window. So I'm not eating 2 hours before bed. And let me tell you kind of the miracle that happened for me with cutting off eating 2 hours before bed. I lost 25 pounds a year and a half ago, and I have kept all of it off, all of it off. And I love to eat. As you can see, that I eat bacon, I eat hamburgers. I don't deprive myself. I just don't eat that way all of the time. And I know that I have limits on those types of things, but I always cut my eating off 2 to 3 hours before bed. If you go to bed with a really full stomach, what happens is it starts to push that digestive contents of your stomach up towards your esophagus, which can cause burning, it can cause acid reflux. And we all know what that feels like, to just have that burning and you're in bed and you know you just can't sleep. So you have to get up, or you have to prop your bed up. You sleep on lots of pillows. So by cutting it back, that eating before bed, not only did I lose 25 pounds and keep it off, but my acid reflux has really, my symptoms have really gone down. I've really modified my symptoms. In fact, I have almost no symptoms at this point. So I've done a couple of great things with that by cutting off the meal so late at night, lost the weight, reduced my symptoms. But the other thing that is a huge bonus is you sleep better. If you go to bed on a really full stomach, what happens is most of the blood in your extremities all kinds of ends up rushing to your gut to try to help to digest that meal. Well, what ends up happening is your body is burning and churning, so it's never really sending a signal to your body that, hey, it's time to start making melatonin, it's time to start relaxing, and it's time to go to sleep. So going to bed not stuffed really allows your body to sleep. When you sleep better, you end up craving fewer carbohydrates and sugar the next day. In fact, some research has that number at over 200 calories that most of us end up craving the next day if we are not sleeping well. So basically what I'm suggesting as a high performance way to eat is a version of intermittent fasting. You've probably heard people talk about intermittent fasting. There's lots of reasons, some really well-researched reasons to get into intermittent fasting. What I find that why most people do it is because of the weight loss. And let's face it, if you're cutting back on how much you're eating during the day and you're cutting back on what's called an eating window, then you're going to be eating fewer calories and weight loss is just going to happen. But what I also like about intermittent fasting, and I'm kind of an accidental intermittent faster because my doctor had suggested don't eat so late at night. It's going to really help with your GERD symptoms. And then what ended up happening is I just started reducing my eating window. So I basically eat meals from about 10 a.m. until about 7 p.m. at night. So my eating window is about 8 or 9 hours a day. And for the rest of the day, I'm fasting. Most of that time I'm sleeping anyway, so it's not very painful. But this is a very typical way to intermittent fast. It's kind of a beginner's way to do it. It's not for everybody. If you're pregnant, if you're nursing, intermittent fasting is not for you. So if you want to try it, you should definitely talk to your doctor before you try it. But I will tell you that there are a lot of success stories with intermittent fasting, and I would certainly consider myself to be one. One of the reasons, again, why I like it so much is when I wake up in the morning, the old information that was, again, what I learned as a nutritionist in college was get up, eat your meal first thing in the morning. As soon as you get up, your feet hit the floor, you should be eating breakfast within 30 minutes. Well, I often wasn't hungry first thing in the morning. And when I'd get up, I'd have my cup of coffee, which actually is a natural appetite suppressant. Whenever you have a hot liquid, it's just a natural appetite suppressant. So then I felt like I was forcing myself to eat food. And that's really not a way to live. You really need to be more in tune with your body and more intuitive. And, if your body's hungry, you should be eating. So as I mentioned, I'm doing intermittent fasting. But there are days I wake up at 7 and I'm starving. And guess what? I just go ahead and eat because I am listening to my body. But most of the days when I get up and I have my cup of coffee and I have my collagen in my coffee, it really kills my appetite for about 3 to 4 hours, sometimes less, sometimes 2 hours. But what I find is because I'm not eating a big meal when I get up in the morning, my brain is just really firing. I find that it's my most effective and efficient time at work is first thing in the morning. My energy is really just off the charts. And so again, this really works for me. I really love it. I really encourage you to do some research, look into if this might be a good option for you. So again, just as a quick recap, I'll get up in the morning. I start with a big glass of water. I don't chug it. I'm just going to drink about 10 to 12 ounces of water over the course of about 20 minutes. I then grab my cup of coffee, again with a little bit of my collagen protein in it. I'll have a couple of cups of coffee. That's going to keep me full for 2 or 3 hours. Then I move into my brunch. Some other alternatives to toast with some greens and bacon might be avocado toast, which is also great with a big chicken sausage or a couple of chicken sausages. You might do eggs and some greens. That's one of my favorite breakfasts. Or I also might do refried beans, some black beans with a couple of eggs and maybe a piece of chicken sausage. That will keep me full for about 3 to 4 hours. Then I'm moving into my lunch with a little bit of protein and a little bit of fat with my avocado, and then kind of a real similar dinner. And then I cut off the food. It might take you a little while to get used to not eating at night. It probably took me about 3 to 4 weeks. I'll be really honest with you. It was not easy. There are some tricks, which I'm happy to teach you of how to get used to not eating so much at night. But this program is really designed to be very high performance. If you are struggling with having a hard time getting your brain turned on in the morning, really feeling sluggish in the afternoon, maybe being so full at night that you get into bed and your mind is just churning along with your gut and you just are really having a hard time sleeping, this might be an option for you. I also offer an 8-week concierge coaching program. I'd love to have you be a part of it. This masterclass is a really great way to get started. But if you decide to make that commitment and try my 8-week concierge coaching program, I'm going to teach you more of the ins and outs, some of the tricks, some of my favorite products that I'm using, including things like this Vital Proteins collagen protein. And there's also some gadgets that I'm really liking, some ways to really reduce your stress, doing some biofeedback. A lot of the gadgets I'm using are less than a couple $100, so I think it's a good investment to make to really help with your stress management. So I hope you have enjoyed this masterclass with me, and I look forward to chatting with you soon.